Whoops. Hey, Anna. How are you?
Oh, good. How are you doing?
Good.
Thank you for Friday. That was
It was awesome, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Definitely. It may just be you and me. Tim's brother-in-law's family, who's flew in from France, was running late, and they just were getting to his house just now. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then he's busy. Yep.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Yeah.
We got this.
Yep. To log into chat here.
Thanks, Jason. Oh, you didn't almost miss it. We're good. More to come, Jason. Already planning out future shows. So hopefully you can hear us. Just someone just say you can hear me in chat, please.
Yeah. Hopefully they can hear us.
Yes. All right, cool, Jason. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Awesome. I was out today till I don't know, till right after dinner time, so kind of rushed to get back here, but it worked well. So
yeah,
we went out swimming today. It was a nice day. So
yeah. We had our 13th session in my campaign, and they've secured the key.
Oh!
After an almost TPK, only one of them standing. So, yep, it's a near TPK every time.
Oh my gosh.
Like, yeah, so but this time they learned the tactics. Yeah, they countered a troll zombie. Zombified troll, so he was nasty as hell. So but they were smart. They formed a shield line at one of the doors. There are two characters that blocked the door, and then the other ones used spells and arrows and whatnot to get to it. So, and he's dumb, so he was just pounding at them, trying to get through. So it worked. They broke through eventually, but they killed them. So yeah.
So the zombie regenerated?
Just a little bit, just a tiny bit, not
a little bit.
Not like regular trolls, but just a little tad bit, so to speak. A couple of 1 or 2 hit points around. I think it was, instead of the regular, much more.
Oh yeah, Calstaff. Ha ha ha! They pulled a Casey there. That was pretty cool, actually. Yeah, we're gonna do a Carlos CSL Entertainment $25 gift certificate tonight. Yup. Thing looks good. After tonight, I'm not going to do it myself. I only have 3 streams this upcoming week.
Yeah.
Only a 3-stream week. Woo! What's up, Caesar? I love this topic tonight. It goes outside of the realm of the paladin, you know.
Yeah.
Paladins, anti-paladins are a big part of it, but we have other holy and unholy orders in our campaign, which is good. And I imagine 3rd edition, I can Pathfinder those too.
Yeah.
I always hear about black cards, and I really don't know anything about them.
Well, you have, and you can. It's interesting how you get into a lot of variants of it, so to speak, and tweak things. Yeah.
Look at that. We still got 10 minutes. We're good.
Yeah.
Whew.
Need to open up things here. So now I'm in chat. Open up the map just in case.
Take one shot. Good to see you. For a second there, I thought that I lost my use of my mouse and my trackball. Oh crap!
Yeah.
It's working fine.
Sometimes I have so many screens, so sometimes I have to kind of go in circles with the mouse and then look around to see if I can find the cursor because it gets lost somewhere.
Infinite Dimensions will have their giveaway, their monthly giveaway on Thursday, so that's good. Always some real great STLs from them. Like that arena right there, man. It's in our hands. We just gotta get that thing painted up, put together, painted up, adorned, you know, minor stuff.
Yeah.
But it'll be ready for Virtual GreyHawk October. It'll be ready for that. So, and Bill right now is putting out these river sets here. He's putting out those rivers so we can get a little more variety to our river looks on the table. So that's we got some cool things. So yes, it will be. Plus there'll be 6 open signups. So for it, at least 6. I actually already put mine in, all 4 events, counting Addis too, into tabletop events. So, because you know, I wanted to pull Skip Williams like a GaryCon. I wanted mine to be numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the event numbers for the con. So I got them in already, which is cool. Yep. I know, Jason. How much you have? Like I said, we got about 500 pieces coming. It's Prime Day tomorrow. Oh, I'm working on my home office. That's a good thing. I'll be able to check some of it out. That's cool. We're getting tomorrow too. Lots of stuff. We are getting resin printer tomorrow too. So I'm excited about that as well. So we'll have 2 PLAs and 1 resin now. Yeah, well, that ship is Jason. That ship is 30 inches long, so at least it fits on my table. I can't do tacking or movement or turning with it. It won't. It's freaking. It's over half the length of the table almost. It's crazy. It'll be cool though. It'll be really cool. I'm looking forward to it. You know, they're gonna ship whatever's missing. They're gonna ship. Whoops, I hit the wrong button. There we go. That was a wrong button tonight. I got a wrong button. Woo! Wrong button. Holy and unholy warriors. Oh, I love the scenario, says Jason. That's what really drew us to it, man, because you know we'll use them. There's the British troll, all the dwarves. There's all great scenario sets. I agree 100%. Really cool. What's up, Troy? Hey, Sean. An iconic cartoon comic piece there. Oh, some other things. Holy and unholy warriors tonight. I know Rob is watching Time Lord's wife, and hopefully she'll raid in, because I want to save the alignment struggle issue for when he gets on, but well, if he doesn't, he doesn't. So, talk about some things. Looking really forward to this discussion. Hey, Tim. It's nice and early. Thank you, everyone. You know, it's a Father's Day, and if we have a light stream tonight, it's okay. It's Father's Day. I know our one guest, Tim, the ever mysterious Tim, had to bail, so, but that's all right. Come on a few minutes early here. Oh, look at that! I didn't even hit this button here to show Anna. Boom! There we go. Wow, I was off my. I'm JK Lord. Samba. Good night. Good evening. Hello. Man, I had a long day. We know what happens when you're in a pool all day. You're exhausted after the day, right? And I was sitting at a pool all day today, and with me is the great Anna Meyer. Tim had family flying in from Europe that got there late, so he's kind of stuck. Yeah, you have that book, Tino, and that book is vital. But I had it set to because we're going to be doing our screen bouncing again tonight. I got it set up. So we'll be bouncing between screens here, and now it should be scrolling from that start point. So everyone goes to, when you go old school, when you go first edition, you go to Paladins, right? And yes, it is, Jason, and we're going to talk about Grand. I'm assuming they stole that name right from Lord of the Rings. You think of Paladins right off the bat, and Paladins evolved. I evolved Paladins. Paladins changed when Anarch Arcana came out, which I didn't like. Paladins. Then third edition came out, and stuff went 100 different directions, right? And then I have no idea how. I don't care. Hey, whatever. If they made them better, worse, in fifth edition, so be it. But that's okay. We're going to stick to our old school discussion with this tonight, Anna. So, you got any Paladins in your, or I guess not in your shield?
Yes, I do. I have a Tritherian Paladin,
cool.
Which is kind of cool, which is not the standard because it's more like a chaotic good,
right?
Or like, well, he will probably play it lawful neutral, but it's not the normal Paladin, so to speak. It's the vengeful Paladin, meaning it's find and go after the baddies and hunt them down kind of Paladin, so to speak.
Okay.
And there is one of these kind of interesting things, meaning the Paladin originally is just like the one that stands up and protect the good ones, kind of, and he's kind of limited that way. But then you have various dragon articles and stuff, and in my camp I really try to widen and I like the term that Pathfinder went to in Pathfinder 2 when they call it the champion class. So it's simply the one that fights for a cause, not only money or whatever, and it's the kind of the idea, the emphasis is why you're fighting, not necessarily the style or the mechanics or stuff like that. So you can kind of mix and match a bit more.
And there's ways around it. Like Jason Giavotta just said, he loves the Backlunish Holy Warriors, and there's a class that we're going to discuss tonight that I use.
Yeah, you should flavor them. That's I think the key to they should be flavored, so to speak. Yeah.
So at minimum tonight, we're going to do. Cal Steph, we're going to get to that. There's the anti. We're going to get to the anti-paladin. That's a definite discussion. You're going to see some anti-paladin little blurbs from that article come up very shortly. There's a lot of cool directions you can go, and I'm just going to share some of the classes that. Look at that! Here comes Kayla. Awesome.
Hey.
Kayla, thank you so very much. It's Anna and me tonight.
Yep.
Holding down the fort here with a discussion on holy and unholy warriors. If you haven't, please give Kayla, Tyler's wife, a follow. I know Kayla and Rob Phantom are starting a new Great Kingdom-based Greyhawk game, I think July 5th, on her channel on a Monday night, which is really cool. It's a great idea. So we got a lot of great shows, new Greyhawk shows popping up, and may live in interesting times. And it's a really fantastic thing. But Rob, now that you're here, Embers of Empire, thank you, Rob. Now that you're here, Rob, we're going to have this discussion and we're going to get this out of the way. So, Rob, the first edition Paladins are lawful good. Ready, Rob? What alignment are anti-Paladins? I almost slipped. Anti-Paladins are chaotic evil. No ifs, ands, or buts. Okay, there we go. They're chaotic evil.
They're the opposite.
Thank you.
In every way. So yeah.
Yes. So I know John at Blue Box says that they're lawful evil. No, they're chaotic evil.
I think the original ones, as intended, is the opposite in every alignment. So yeah, because it is originally the alignment that is the key to I think the original Paladin. He's supposed to be lawful good, and the anti-Paladin and yeah.
Weren't they basically Death Knights? No, Tino. There's anti-Paladins and Death Knights are two way different things. No.
Yes. Yeah.
No. So
I would say that Death Knights fits into the term unholy warrior.
Oh yeah.
Yes, but not anti-Paladin.
But not as a class.
Exactly. No, exactly. Yeah, we have to widen the perspective a lot, so to speak. From
what's the one difference between law and chaos, though? There's a huge difference between law and chaos.
That is, yeah, that is before we had good and evil in the game. There was only law and chaos, and I can't even remember the descriptions. You're much closer to it. So
well, I'm going to give you an example. If you watched last Saturday night, and Kayla was there, right? Anna was there, and Josh Pop played, right? and Casey, and I put them through the ringer with an ultimately chaotic evil anti-paladin named Gwyneth, and I loved every minute of it, and how she was so sweet and so pretending to pray to Mayheen and weeping for those people that were slaughtered. It was great.
Yeah,
that was fun because the chaotic evil knows no bounds, right? So
exactly.
Chaos will do anything to get the objective done. Jason. Chaos Warriors mutate too, and that's another thing. Anti-Paladins are the same as Blackguards, I believe. I don't know Zump because I don't play that edition. I'll take your word for it. It's very possible.
Yeah, Blackguard was an evil class that was in third edition. You had a Blackguard class that was a form of anti-Paladin in a way. Yeah.
But
you had many different versions and flavors of it. In third edition, you had tons of it, so to speak. Yeah.
So look at it this way. Here's the question between good, law and chaos. All right. I'm going to give you two basic deities in Greyhawk, and I'm going to explain law and chaos. Lawful good deity, right? Let's say Palor, or Mayheen, or Ral, or even most aspects of St. Cuthbert. Structure, you're going to do what is right. You're going to do the thing that is within legal bounds. You're not going to slay captives. If you tell them you're gonna if you're going to keep them alive, you're not going to do that stuff, but you're going to thwart evil. Tritherian, chaotic good. You do some underhanded stuff here and there. Vengeance is what you're all about, but it's vengeance against evil, right? So chaos kind of reigns a little supreme with a Tritherian worshiper. They're out to slay, defeat. Trickery's fine. right? Doing something underhanded for Tritarian, as long as they, get the job done, is fine.
Yeah, I see the difference between law and chaos is that lawful characters believe in institutions, regulations, laws, and norms and stuff. Their kind of belief systems and motivation system, meaning they will belong to an organization, they want to adhere to rules, norms, and regulations. Those rules and norms and regulations can be good or they can be evil. That doesn't matter. You need the evil empire have evil laws and that cater to one group and hates all the rest, so to speak, meaning it's legal to kill that type of monster or that type of person or whatever, but illegal to kill the other one. A lawful evil would not question the law whatever soever. They will simply say, okay, that's the law, and they can do it. And they will be, meaning they could rejoice in the fact of doing something without thinking about the moral consequences or whatever, but they will act according to the statutes of an organization they belong to, or a church or an order or a country or something like that, the institutions. A chaotic one, on the other hand, think from themselves and their own personal interests, no matter where they be, so to speak. And that, in my interpretation of alignment, so to speak, that depends on a chaotic good would simply look at its own interest, but not try to not make that to the detriment of others, so to speak. But a chaotic evil would simply like, oh, I like that shiny thing, give it to me. And if they're not, then you simply kill whoever has it if you think you can get away with it. And a chaotic good would defend friends and things, people and creatures and whatnot he thinks deserves to be defended, and who will act beneficially to him and to others he likes, so to speak, and so on, but not out of principles of legal structures and institutions and stuff like that. And lawful good one will obey and follow instructions, rules, regulations, and institutions, tenets, and adherence if he thinks they are just and are based on just and fair principles, so to speak. That is how I see that. So the difference is that the chaotic starts thinking from himself outwards, and a lawful start thinking in the big picture, where do I fit in and where do I need to follow, so to speak.
That's a great point.
Yeah, that's my kind of, the lawful starts from the big picture and how do I fit in. The chaotic is like, I'm here, how can I navigate the world? And a good one don't care about the consequences for others whatsoever, so to speak, and whether they are chaotic or lawful. And the good ones, they think about what is the consequences of my actions, so to speak. Those two axes, meaning yeah.
I don't ever remember a lot of Tritharian worshippers in my game, which is a very popular deity, thinking about the consequences of their actions at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Normally they're like, oh, that was dumb, after the fact, right?
Yeah. And an evil can think about their consequences in the way that they want them to be positive for themselves, so to speak, but they will not regard consequences for others or for the general society or any of that, so to speak.
Good point. Very good point. By the way, so any Portrait Workshop portrait in my campaign that was done up, that is any of the classes we're discussing tonight, the characters are scrolling through.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so now I have this, and let's do this. Let's make sure this works. Full screen setup. There we go. And on top, me below.
Yeah, and I want to point out that's my interpretation of alignment, not a rule or any of that. If you want to run alignment in another way that suits your campaign better, then go at it. But it needs to function for you and your campaign and your players. That's the key, so to speak, because their alignment is one of these most contentious topics in the game, so to speak. So you need to have something that works for your style of play and for your campaign and for your players. That's the like any rule or any whatever, so to speak. So, but that I just wanted to emphasize how I kind of guide myself and try to guide my players through alignment. So
you're right, Cathay. Might makes right sometimes with a chaotic good character.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't allow all evil player characters in my campaign, but I have some that are on the fringes that are right on that. A lot of chaotic neutrals that are right on that fringe. And
I don't. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would say I don't want to allow any from the big get-go, but I tempt my players to for their characters to become evil, to see
That's
if
awesome.
they want to fall for it, so to speak. And then I form the campaign around that, so to speak. So I want my players to think about these issues, and then use it. So yeah.
So Zump just brought up something. Isn't that the art from Paladin and Hell? This is the artwork from Monster Manual 1, right?
Ah,
Right, the
yeah.
original Monster Manual, if I recall correctly. Or is it from the original Player's Handbook? Wait a minute, I have
It
it right
might
here.
be. It's
And
one of
then the
the
entire
funny
Paladin
books.
in Hell, that's Player's Handbook 1. Thanks, Sean. My brain is gone today.
I love those
Yeah, thank you
devils.
so very
Yeah.
much. And then they based the entirety of the Paladin in Hell. Yep. Oh, look. This is, look at this. Wherever I got that one from, someone colored, and it wasn't me.
Oh, yeah.
In this one, I got, you know, how many of these do I have? Like 8
Yeah,
of them.
but that
So,
is it's a
yeah.
good one with the yeah.
Yeah, and that's how they did the Paladin in Hell. Player's Handbook. My apologies. So, Paladins. And I got it set so that because I knew once Tim was not coming, that it would be good to just have it like this, and I could have a lot of larger blow ups, so you could see them so much better tonight. So we're gonna hopefully have this work. So if you go to the original Paladin in First Edition, they have a wickedly terrible XP table, right? It's nasty compared to the other ones, whereas a fighter at 9th level of experience right here is at 250. It takes another 100,000 experience points for a paladin to become lord status. So you're looking at, and then 700. I mean, you almost are. You are almost 11th level as a straight fighter at 750. You become 11th. So they're a whole level behind when they get to that point. The good thing about the paladin is they got a ton of great abilities. But when Unearthed Arcana came out, and that was my book, you know, I love the Unearthed Arcana, but I have a lot of trepidations about it, particularly Cavaliers, and then they made yeah, awful goodness, and then they made, you know, the Paladin subclass of Cavalier, and I said that's stupid, but we went with it for a little bit. Now our Paladins, most of them are subclasses of fighter, back to the original way they were.
Yeah.
We gave them a limited weapon specialization, and we added a couple things to the base Paladin, and another one of those. And I'm gonna leave this up as our background, just like I did. Trying to, with the fantasy mapping show, it's enhanced other shows now, which is great. And by the way, thank you everyone for all the wonderful, wonderful thoughts on. I love the Cavalier Vatican's boy, but I love the Dragon 72 Cavalier, not the Unearthed Arcana Cavalier. So we use the Cavalier extensively in our campaign. Hugely use that character. One of my favorites.
The Paladin was themed very much like a Cavalier, the rightful warrior kind of thing. So they thematically they're close to each other, not mechanically, but thematically.
Yes,
they can be very close to each other when you just think about them, so to speak.
But we didn't want to go that direction with it. We didn't want to make them all. We didn't want to make them all jousting. We didn't want to make them all, you know, just that. It almost felt too birthright-ish, right? And exactly that direction that we wanted them to be able to have a different, different weapon varieties, not have to worry about armor restrictions. Because a paladin, you know, that's not necessarily what they're about. So a couple of the other enhancements we did was we gave them enhanced spell. Enhanced spell capability. Here's the list. We start off. This is straight paladin class. Start them off getting spells at 4th. Now a lot quicker. And those zeros are with wisdom bonus. They'll get spells there, so they get spells a little bit quicker than they did before. Another advantage we made there. The UA made the paladin a Cavalier subclass. Yes, exactly, Phantom. So I just ignored it. Man. We just went and we undid it all, and there's nothing wrong with that. And that campaign's where it is now today because of it. Now we allow paladins that are subclasses of the Cavalier. There are two. That's fine. But a lot of ours go subclass of fighter, so there's 2 different kinds. Priest of Horse work like good paladins. Well, we're going to get to that. I'm going to show you my alternative to that in this discussion on holy and unholy warriors. I have a really good one, and I've had this gentleman on the show now multiple times who created the class that I would go to do that. Mac, and we'll describe that in a little bit here. On that, so your paladin has your abilities: lay on hands, immunity to disease, spell, uh, increase spells. By the way, we allow them to get the specialty priest of their deity here. It says that up here, so they're not just getting the standard clerical list. So if they have a specialty priest of Maheen or St. Cuthbert
They get
or
the
Uko in
spells.
my game, they can choose from that list, which is another real benefit. It
Yeah.
really is a benefit. So that's one of the cool things that we allowed with paladins. Things about yeah, Rob, and I agree with you 100%. And that's why we do things the way we do, because some things just don't make sense, right? So let's enhance them, and then let's incorporate them, play test them.
Yeah.
And my guys all love, they tell me if they would hate this. And so that's why we have a whole variety of holy and unholy warriors to choose from. And that's one of the cool things that I love about our game of 40 years, is that we can experiment. Now, here's this. I'm not a fan of this. Oh, let me put this picture up first. One of my favorite pictures from the City Grail box set. Valderessa Sharn and Artur Jakartai. Very cool. Both. I know Valderessa is a paladin, and Artur, I think, is a paladin too.
Yeah,
but
I think so.
This is right in that second edition era. So are they paladin cavaliers or are they paladin fighters? So I had Artur as a cavalier paladin and Valderessa as a fighter paladin. Now Valderessa gets killed and from the ashes, but I undo that. And she's in my game. So there you go. Another thing. Don't have to follow canon. You don't have to follow published sources. So welcome and thank you for that lurk.
Yeah, in my Pathfinder 1 time, so to speak, I made a paladin a prestige class. So you had to so in order to become a paladin, you had to either you could start as a cleric devoted to the deity in question, or you can start as a fighter and then start taking cleric levels with it. So you had to be a combination of it. So for a lot of like Tritherian or Palor or one of the standard good ones, Heronius and stuff like that, then it was kind of, if you were a fighter and then you said that, well, I want to be a paladin of Heronius, then you start taking a couple of cleric levels, so you get that devotion, you get the religious and the spell casting, then you take paladin levels and you simply get so I made the prestige class was a synergy of the two, so you simply improved your fighting abilities alongside your spell casting and your cleric abilities, and you got things like smiting and all that stuff, so to speak. So it was hard to attain to, so you had to be like 5th level, I think was the 4th or 5th level. That was the minimum in order to become a paladin. So you had to prove both your fighting ability and your devotion to the church, so to speak, or the organization you were fighting. But not only meaning Tritherian, then it could be probably smarter to be a ranger, because you needed things like survival, you needed stuff like that. So their paladins were probably they were probably cleric rangers more than cleric fighters, or at least equal amount, so to speak. So it depended on what kind of, some sneaky other deities and stuff, you might be a rogue or something, and so there might be different ones, so to speak. And even Tritherian I might allow someone to be a rogue cleric to become a paladin of and then
we have one.
Yeah?
So Judy Rudolph has a thief who dual classed, remember, to paladin.
Yeah.
And now we're talking Living Greyhawk, and we're talking Pathfinder, where you can have multiple classes now.
Well, that's like 3.5. I started in 3.5 and then continued in.
Anna, of course, has jumped ahead on me here, talking about this.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're perfect. But we're going to get to this. Valor's in our blood, because this article here changed my thought process on another class that we did. And this was a 3rd edition idea that I back converted into 1E. So you're absolutely describing what you did in 3rd edition, with it, I'm going to tell you what I did from that article
Yeah.
back to 1E, which is
Mm-hmm.
really a cool thing. And that ties in with what Tina was talking about, this lovely gem of a book, which I don't know if I've ever showed on any of my streams to this date yet.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
the Dragonlance book, it's
Mm-hmm.
very well done. Back in the day, what year is this actually? 87. I
Yeah,
think
I
it's
think I have it here
yeah.
somewhere too.
So
Yeah,
we got
somewhere.
a couple good ideas in here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the phases of the moon idea, by the way, for spellcasters is really cool in here too. It's just hard to keep track of, but yeah, definitely another cool idea coming out of that book, and I'll
Yeah.
explain that story on the last class we'll get to tonight. So, Paladins. There's this article that everyone knows about, that everyone always talks about. Plethora of Paladins in Dragon 106, right?
Yes, all the
Dragon
nine. Yeah, one for
106.
each alignment. Yeah.
Yeah. Now they don't do the anti and the regular paladin, but they go through it, and I'm just like, here it is by Chris Wood. Everything, all right, it's cool. I'm not a fan. All right, I'm telling you right now, this is just too much. So
Yeah.
they vary so much.
Yeah, but it's ties too much to the alignment.
Yeah.
I don't want. I want to get
Yeah.
away from that, and I want to have them tied into their gods and their orders and their organizations. That's the key for me, so to speak. Meaning, Ayusian might have champions that fight for him. Nerul might have them, and Hieronymus and others have them, and they're based on who they serve. That's where they get their power from, so to speak. So that's how I.
And look, you got this Miracan, die 6+3, Lion, die 12. Why? With 15 maximum hit dice, whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. He made up an article. People love it, and that's cool. It's just not for me in my game.
Yeah, I agree. It's not for me either.
Yeah, it's not. So just note it exists. And note that is 106.
But you can steal ideas from
it
and then rework them like you should do all the time. You should look at cool products, whether they are for you or not, and then steal ideas from it for your campaign. Yeah,
absolutely. Dragon 72, Cavalier. I use this Cavalier over the Arcana Cavalier all day long. I love this Cavalier. One or two minor changes, just note that as well. Okay, but here's the most valuable of all of the dragons, really close. Dragon 39.
I'm laughing at Calstaff. So
yeah. Calstaff, it's okay. I mean, it's okay. Hey, Megan.
Well, I want the alignment to be there as a guiding stick, but I don't want to have it. I want to tone it down mechanically. I don't like alignment languages. I don't like and stuff like that. But I like my smite attacks and stuff like that. Yeah, that's really cool.
Oh, absolutely. And once again, I don't have, like, for example, our base 1E Paladins and Anti-Paladins don't have Smite because they didn't have them on 1E, but I'll show you a class that does. Interesting thing, 5Es, we got the Oathbreaker Paladin, but I think we could use Anti-Paladin. Closest thing is Colville's Illbrigger, but I need specific flavor for some things. If you would have said his first name, Naz, on this stream, I would have exploded. So I'm glad you didn't. No, I'm kidding. He's all right. He's cool. So it was just a joke. It was a joke, everyone. It was a joke. The Anti-Paladin. I wish Tim was on, but he couldn't be because his family got family coming in from overseas, and they came in late, so he got stuck. They flew into Newark and had some problems. So Rob knows about Newark Airport, right? So and I had to drive down to South Jersey. When Tim first introduced me to an Anti-Paladin class, he scared the living daylights out of me the way he played it. And so I remember that from day one. And I can't pull that trick like I did last Saturday night on my players. Because if you all saw, no, Tim, I was just joking. That's all, man. It was a joke. Right? I saw who you put that. He's a good guy. He's welcome to come on the show anytime, too. But Walt was in chat all Saturday night. Goes, I know what it is, and they all were saying that, but they knew from the beginning that they knew, and I didn't tell them. I didn't tell them at all but the minute they saw all the things that were leading up, and especially when they saw her bring out the little crumpets and the tea bags for steep tea, they knew exactly what I was doing. The multi-stage poisoning and all, and it's an art form to the Anti-Paladin. But remember, the Anti-Paladin in this article is great. good got you down, try this for evil. What a fantastic drawing this is too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your anti-paladin is your ultimate unholy warrior. Now, Death Knights are a step above. They're demonic, right? Death Knights have power infused from Demogorgon.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are character classes we're talking now. We're not. Death Knights are. An anti-paladin could ascend to a Death Knight, I guess, right?
Yeah, but to me, they're all the unholy. The holy warriors have their powers from some good power, and the unholy ones have it from one evil power. And then what class they have, to me, is kind of doesn't matter much, so to speak.
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you this.
Yeah.
So an anti-paladin, of a daughter of Mastrai, anti-paladin, answers to no one but their father, right? So there's no. I don't think Mastrai. I don't know, Anna, how you have Mastrai in your game. I don't think Mastrai cares about gods. That's what I have.
I have Mastrai is an evil fighter, so
right? But he doesn't care at all about.
No, exactly. He doesn't serve an evil overlord.
What's up there,
no,
Patrick?
he serves. He's like neutral evil. Yeah.
True.
I have. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. Death Knights are undead too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do they follow a verse that say a code of chivalry that people generally assume of regular paladins? Yes. Okay. So I don't know if I have it in here. Let me see. Okay, here. Let me see what's in here. They get. Here's some of their abilities. They affect undead, demons, and devils as they were an evil cleric. It says at this level, his sordid reputation, and his is his/her. This is old school. Everyone, please note that. Is that creatures actually seek him or her out in order to enter into service. There's a table for that. They can call a special warhorse. It can be a nightmare that they can get, which is cool. They may employ limited number of clerical spells. I made that same 4th level just in mine. I give them specialization. They can lay on hands, or they can lay on hands in negative and damage people. And the other way, they get backstabbed like a thief does, which I did not do in the game. And then they have specialties on poisons and all sorts of other vile abilities. They're chaotic evil. So whether a fighter, a chaotic evil fighter, raises the level of anti-paladin, I guess you have to have a special place. Plus, you have the right stats in old school, right? So, yeah. But you can be very charismatic. As an anti-paladin. Very, very charismatic. Where's Tim? Patrick, he had a family issue. He had they flew flying. His brother-in-law was flying in from France, and they got in Newark late, so he got Tim had some. Yep, thank you. So some other things with the anti-paladin. Let's see what I got here. So the anti-paladin is very cowardly for the most part. Okay, when they get overwhelmed, they're no brave individuals. They will seek out a way to escape or a way to kill in the most underhanded way, and that's why she tried poisoning everyone. I can't believe I didn't kill anyone from that poison. It was a -4 save, and they all made.
Yeah.
And Emery had no worries.
Oh,
she
Emery was. No, she's
so
not
awesome.
going to fall for this. Yeah.
Yeah. So
she's a. Yeah.
Go ahead.
She's a Knight of Ulick, so
yes,
yeah.
She was smart on that. So
she's a member of Order of Ulick, so she's
dark and raw. Exactly, Justine. It's like dark and raw in Legends of the Seeker, or many other areas where good is very. Hey, Ann. I'm glad, so happy that you raised over $1,000 for your fundraiser.
Wonderful, good job.
It was fantastic. Congrats on that. So Nightheart Gaming, is it too late? I mean, can people still donate if they can? And if you want to put that in link, please feel free to do so if it's still open. So note that an anti-paladin is a character you do not want to bring up against your party, against your enemies all the time. Save it for a special moment. Right?
It's kind of that type of villain should be kind of a campaign villain, not an adventure or a scenario, or like a session.
Yep.
Thing. It's one that campaign that can come in early just to thwart them and a little bit like I wanted to have some that the party slayed in the first encounter, but yes, but it was a necromancer. So they're starting to kill them off. But there will be new ones coming in my campaign, and I have lots of them.
Absolutely.
He has lots of them, and my players haven't met the Black Guard. his kind of his black guard, and there's a special inside. Hang on a second. I'm going to just make sure that I get it right here. So
as
yeah.
Anna's looking, you're telling me there's no anti-paladin in 5th edition?
No, I don't think so. Nope.
Okay.
They haven't touched on any of that so far. So yeah.
I would have thought that. Well, I guess interesting there specifically, Kelly. I don't know, Naz, because I don't know what a blackguard does. Anna may know a little bit more. I'm not I know that my anti-paladins are not cavalier versions. I don't like them as cavaliers. I like them as the fighter subclass, especially with the backstab ability. There is a death paladin. Okay. If there's a death paladin, and then that would be close enough to being an anti-paladin, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ones that have kind of those creatures in my Shieldlands campaign, you have the Gensel hordes. They made up mainly of humanoids and hobgoblins and flints, and so they have some of their top ones will qualify for it, meaning they are accomplished fighters and warriors that have some abilities definitely that will go in that direction. But then you have the Legion of the Black Death. That's IU's shock force,
Black Death Guards.
So to speak. Yeah, and they are the I would say in my campaign that very close to what you get like the Anti-Paladin, and they will be the ones. And then within them you have the old phalanx. That's the top of them, so to speak. You don't want to be on the battlefield when they come, and their leader is General Sindor. And he's a Cambion, just like IU's himself.
Yeah, he's the head of the Black Death, isn't he?
Yes, he's a Legion of Black Death.
Awesome.
Yeah. And he in my campaign, he is a Cambion between the big fire demon,
fire demon.
Yes, the Balor.
Balrog.
Yeah, Balrog. Yeah,
Type
exactly.
6.
Yeah. So he's a half Balrog, and his dad works for IU's, so he gets it there from there. So yeah, Balor. Yeah, thank you, Brian. Yeah, don't listen to this, Brian. You shouldn't. You in my campaign, you're not allowed to listen to this.
No, listen.
Oh yeah,
listen.
Yep. So that's part of the
What's up, Tabletop Santa? Good to see you.
Yep.
Oh yeah, we're having a great day. Happy Father's Day to you, if that pertains to everyone out there. Had a nice Father's Day today.
Yep.
And we're just hanging out tonight, and we got a massive audience. Everyone's just hanging, which is good.
Yeah.
We're talking holy and holy and unholy warriors here. Some evil clerics and their Oathbreaker paladin. Okay. Yep. Well, anti-paladins are for everyone. So please, just think about it in whatever game. And the reason I threw up the one last Saturday was because I can't do it against my players, and it was the right place and right time for that group. Plus, I want to scare the crap out of Casey. So, and that's always fun doing that, and it was a good time. And it's an ongoing story with Mistrine and the Narwhal headhunters that I have in that Narwhal area as well. All right, so 2 paladin subclasses you may know for me, and they're both fighter subclasses. We'll go over them real quick because I've gone on over them in recent shows. Does anyone remember this gentleman and who he is?
I've seen that image somewhere, but I can't remember where. I think you showed me.
Yeah,
on some previous show. I think.
I'll 2 letters and a number.
Hang on a second. What, isn't it by the tournament or something you had shown him? No.
Doc Martin's got it. Baldur's Gate 2.
Oh, okay.
Keldor and Firecam.
Yeah, because you have shown that image on one previous show. That's where I recognize it from.
He's an inquisitor from that 2nd edition era.
Yeah.
So note also, here we go. I'm going to toot my own horn again, and hopefully we're giving away a gift certificate tonight for $25. As you could win this if you don't have it. In Horror in the Hools, I have classes detailed. This Inquisitor class is detailed in Horror in the Hools. So the Inquisitor is a subclass of Paladin. Now here's where I go off a little of the reservation, Zen Sishi, very nice to see you. Welcome to the stream. Notice my alignments here. They are the truth. They are the truth seekers. The Inquisitor, lawful neutral, lawful good, and lawful evil. All three. So they are lawful in my game. But I like to have lawful neutral Inquisitor of Fultus. It's perfect. The Fultians are very, very lawful neutral. They don't care about good or evil, and an Inquisitor is a perfect character for them. A Hextor Inquisitor, lawful evil, makes total sense. So now, when the class makes sense, I've expanded out the alignments. They get specialization. Makes sense, Anna?
Yeah, it makes sense. You can have someone who wants to extract the truth no matter what, so to speak. Yeah, that can make sense. It's the to find fact-finding mission, so to speak. So I can get that. And one of the things in my campaign, Fultus have been a lot of his worshippers turned and clerisy turned evil.
Yeah, well,
and so they managed to influence. So Fultus realized that more than half of my congregation in Pale and stuff had gone evil. So Fultus they actually managed to kind of get the god to lean evil. So Fultus have now turned evil because he wanted to. He became power hungry more than moral. So he wanted to keep his power by keeping his clerisy and his worshippers, rather than trying to lose them or trying to persuade them back. So he opted for power and became evil, and that will have interesting consequences in my world. I thought that was kind of cool. So the good Fultians have a problem now because they lost their deity, and the evil ones have a little bit of a problem because they have to rearrange things. Healing is much harder to come by, and harming is much easier and stuff. So yeah.
Fultus in my campaign throws a wrench into the Shieldlands area because they've been emigrating there and because of all the open land, and we've had that discussion. And they're lawful neutral. And Josh Pop just got on. Josh, you just missed us talking about the Anti-Paladin you went against with Josh Death Dealer and all. So that was a funny discussion. All right, so here's our abilities. They get innate protection. If they're just like a Paladin, if they're lawful good, it's evil. If it's neutral, we keep it the same way. Death Ray, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. So here's the really great thing. These are the anti-spellcasters and anti-buffers of old school. Now, I know in 5e you're only allowed to have one spell on at a time, but that in 1e2 you're allowed to have like 10 spells on. You've seen that. They get the innate Dispel Magic ability twice per day, and they also get Detect Lie, which are both spell effects, or clerical, can be either or. And plus they get True Sight, which is like the clerical spell True Seeing, so they can detect a lot of things. It's a great class. I love the class, the way it works, and it's in the Holes for you to look at. Yeah. So note that one. Second class was detailed by me in Earth Journal 33. Okay, and as you see here, that it says down here, one new class, right? When this one came out. This is the Gary Julian Death Knight one, which is really cool. This fit in really well with it. Excuse me. So we come up here, and that is my second one, which is newer than the Inquisitor. And where is my here it is. I had the article up. The Undead Hunter, right? Spice up your old school.
That is a cool one.
Thank you very much, Anna. Whoops, I went too far.
I like and I like class-wise, mechanics-wise. I think it fits both within the campaign setting, mechanics-wise, to have certain people specializing in hunting down undead, because they are a scourge, really a scourge, and can be a huge problem. So I think it makes perfect sense to have an undead hunter, so to speak. And just like you can have a fiend hunter or someone who goes after critters that way, that are abominations.
We were close to doing that with like a demon / devil hunter, but I'm going to show you in the knight class that it's built into some of the knight classes we have already.
Well, the paladin standard with where you have banish and smite and stuff, it makes it kind of works, so to speak. But to have someone with special capabilities against undead, I think it makes really good sense, because undeads are more kind of an occurrence that can happen within the community. You can start having zombies, ghouls, vampires, and all sorts of stuff that comes closer to home, so to speak. Demons and devils and Iusians and stuff, they are kind of more of a distant problem that can come over you and become overwhelming, but it doesn't affect every community the same way that various forms of undead can.
The class has been hugely popular. So,
Yeah.
and that's good to see. You know, in my Stella group, we had an undead hunter, play, and that was really cool a
Yeah.
couple weeks ago. And we have some really popular undead hunters that I have detailed in this article too.
Yeah. How when you sorry.
Go for it.
Interrupted.
Please
That was it. When I was going to ask a question, meaning when you create a class like that, meaning how much speciality would you allow in order to not get too weak generally, so to speak? Meaning when you have a class that goes after, that becomes an expert in something, meaning how much do you have to sacrifice in general ability to become really good at, and how do you balance that? That has been a little bit of an issue for me when you develop stuff
It's
like
easy
this.
to balance this, and I'm going to show you how I do this with as opposed to a normal fighter. If you look at this, all right, first thing off, look at the alignments. All three good alignments, because there can be different types of undead hunters in different areas, plus lawful neutral for the Fultians. I always want Fultis to get their fair share here, because I just love the lawful. Chaotic neutral, I don't think
I
fits.
love the Fultians too, but for different reasons, maybe.
Yeah.
But
plus
I love
also
the Fultians.
some St. Cuthbert undead hunters can be lawful neutral, I think.
Yep.
You know,
Might
so
be,
Tritharian, this would be a great undead hunter.
Yes,
worshiper.
exactly. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So, and remember, as far as turns go, not all specialty priests can turn undead based on their deity. So there's a lot that can't. So just note that.
Some of them are not really involved in that type of
a lot are
enterprise.
not involved in them. So note they have specialization. Their required weapons are a crossbow, kind of a Van Helsing feel to them, but they get other, they get any melee weapon they want. But here's the trick here, and we'll go to the second page on the Undead Hunter. Undead Hunter 2. Okay. And they don't get protection from evil. They get protection from undead now. So if a zombie's attacking them, they get them the zombies -2 to hit, because even though they're neutral, because they're mindless or whatever. So it's against undead they get these abilities.
And they get immunity from various charms and other things that vampires and other things have.
Well,
curses
as
from
it goes,
mummies and stuff.
Yes, and it gets better as it goes up. So here's what it says: complete immunity to level stat training at 9th. I don't want to give that to them right off the bat, so they got to earn that. But they get multiple attacks with a weapon to specialize in against undead only. So
so they don't get it against others.
No, that's the drawback, right? So there you go.
Yeah, but they you cripple them kind of significantly against other types of stuff. So you kind of you give them an edge, but that is more of a limitation, because a fighter or a paladin would have that many attacks against anything. It doesn't matter what it is, so to speak.
But a fighter would have specialization right off the bat at first level, would be 3 every 2. So they're 3 every 2 against undead.
But do you give these even more of an edge against? Is an undead hunter better fighter against undeads than a general fighter, or just
only with a crossbow, which is automatically, no matter what, is keen, which means it cuts on 19 or 20. But then again, they're better than paladins, because paladins do not get the multiple attacks like a fighter does, or a cavalier.
So they pay by they are as good versus undeads in melee, but they are way worse against everything else.
But they also get
then they have
undead,
other stuff. Exactly. They pay all these other cool stuff they can do. They pay in being
very
equally good, so to speak. And then
plus they get these spell-like abilities once per day, and based on their level, and it stacks up. And some of these are really nasty. False Dawn is a super nasty spell. Soul Searing Orm is as well. Searing Light is at 5th level. They get that. Searing Light against non-corporal negative is hugely crazy spell. And you've seen these spells being cast. Some of these abilities, the special priest of Saint Benedor that Kayla plays, Tegan, she has these abilities too, because they kind of cross over a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But yes, so those are the spell-like abilities that they get. So that's the Undead Hunter, and like I said, that's available in Art Journal, and that's free to download right off of Greyhawk Online site anytime, if you want to take a look at that class. So, and I've talked about them in previous Gabbins just recently when we were talking about customization of classes. So does anyone have any questions about the Paladin, Anti-Paladin, Undead Hunter, or Inquisitor at this point?
Yeah, I think they're cool. That yeah,
Thanks.
that they are
160 people on and not a single question, man. We must be doing something
well,
right
you have
tonight, huh?
well, you have to wait. They have to type it in, and it's 10 seconds, 20 seconds delay and stuff. So yeah.
Wiley, the Inquisitor is extremely fun to play, especially a lawful neutral SOB Inquisitor.
Yeah.
Put one of those in your party, and they're like, So, is there a Paladin that is neutral? Not in my game. There's no Paladin that's neutral. The Inquisitor and the Undead Hunter can be lawful neutral. Nah, that's not a Paladin, Tino. That's a balanced Paladin's really not a Paladin in my game, in my opinion.
Yeah, the balance is interesting because that's one of these gray hockey ideas that you simply bash the ones that happen to be in power. If one side overwhelms a little bit, you always side with the losing side or the underdog. That's kind of an interesting perspective.
Absolutely.
Yeah, to me, it's interesting but weird. So yeah, because that means that you have no real morals. You just like, oh, now these are becoming very strong, so then we side with the other side. It should be, if you're smart, you side with the winning side, not the one that risks losing. So yeah, but it's kind of honorable in some ways that you dare to side with the loser. But I'm being facetious a bit.
That's
here,
okay.
But
you're going to see here in this instance that balance, Tino, has no place in this next class, and this is from a legend who wrote this. Now I asked him specifically when he was on my show a little while ago, and we're talking about Eric Boyd, the creator of the 2nd edition Specialty Priest. So okay, Eric is like, this is what.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Eric's like royalty to me. So this book is all the deities in Forgotten Realms Eric wrote. I mean, 90% of them, and a lot in Greyhawk as well. Now he is the second writer on this one behind Julia Martin, but then he, pantheons and prayers and deities and demi-human deities he wrote. But this is like he's second on this book. There's a class in here, and when I came across this class, I don't know what year it was. It's got to be 20 years ago. I'm like, that fills a hole. Yeah, the Inquisitors and Horror of the Holes, absolutely. I know it's kind of cheesy for me. Hey, but look, it's a wonderful adventure, and you should support Carlos because Carlos is a great, great writer, and Carlos helped me flesh that thing out so much. And Carlos wrote half of the adventure. It's a great, great adventure. So, this book is awesome. It's done very well. My one negative drawback is they give too many spheres to the deities in Forgotten Realms. Like, sphere travelers and all that stuff for making up specialty priests. But there's a class in the back. And now let me describe this and put this up. It is called, and I don't know if you've ever heard of it. A lot of people have never heard of this class, but it exists in this book. It's written by Eric Boyd. It's called the Crusader. Okay? Now, this is a 1E, 2E class. Basically, this is a 2E class. I've back converted it to 1E. So, Crusaders are priests of deity, war, combat, or conflict who stand at the forefront of their fight for their faiths. They must either be lawful or chaotic in alignment. In other words, Crusaders may be of any alignment except neutral evil, neutral good, or true neutral. There, no middle ground here. Okay, and that's really a very important thing to see. So, they're often associated with war gods. They may represent powers of leadership or strong alignment that are in conflict with opposing forces. This is a perfect From the Ashes era character class, plus Living Greyhawk, all sorts. So think about this. Now I can have a Crusader of Ayus, chaotic evil, right? I can have a Crusader of Trarian. I can have a Crusader of Foltus. I can have a Crusader of St. Cuthbert. I can have a Crusader of any of those deities. All right, and it's a holy warrior that's out fulfilling the role of their god. All right, let me go to the next one here.
Yeah. What kind of special features do they? Oh, sorry.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you asked that, Anna.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. What kind of what kind of nasty or special cool thing can they do?
Yeah, and there's a Holy Crusader in there too, Cal stuff. This kind of fits on that end as well. Thank you there, Naz. Still reading Horde and Holes, but it was worth it just to get Fritz's stats. By the way, his wisdom's wrong in there. It's 7, not 17. Okay. There's one typo in there. Sorry, Naz, but he has
you
7
don't need
wisdom.
that much wisdom. You could just attack the enemy and don't think about the consequences much.
Thanks, Greg Illustrian. Thanks for saying that. All right, so
yeah.
They fight on the fighter table. So right off the bat, they fight on the fighter table, but they're technically a cleric subclass. So they get the proficiencies of a cleric, but they fight on the fighter table. So here is their sphere access, major access to all combat, guardian, healing, war, and wards. Minor, protection, and necromantic, and then they have lawful, access, major if they're a lawful one, or chaotic. So I have a spell list done up with just the chaos listed on there and the law, and they're just asterisks, which is which. And it's not that big of a list. So they get all the buff spells, they get all the prayers and the recitations and all the war spells you can think of. So here's my write-up to help in my campaign on this Crusader class. All right, here we go. Subclass of cleric specialty priest may not multi-class, including dual. They are betrothed to their deities. These are a deity-specific class. Okay, they're on the cleric table at minus 10%, and if they get wisdom bonus, they're back to 0. So they never get a bonus at all. All right. They do not turn undead. They have could care less about undead. They get specializations that don't increase attack rate. They get 3 every 2 at 8th, though. They get the deity weapons. Okay. So I have a specialty priest of Aralith the Therinal, who's the drow hunter. She's a half elf, and she fights longsword and longbow. Okay, so they get weapons of the deities. They get die 8 like a con bonus, but they get as a fighter class. So they have 18. They get +4 instead of +2. All right, so they get these spells, they get that, they get all those fighter abilities, and then they get the following as well. All right, now this is Mark and I were testing something for Osprey, so the asterisks were in play test, and we haven't gone too far with that yet. They get light and load, and they got easy march. Those spells, which are military spells, which are really great if you're trying to get somewhere quick. They also get to use weapons that are usually like they get to use Holy Avengers. They get to use Unholy Reavers. They get to use all those weapons that are like, oh, only a paladin can use this. Well, there you go. That's what they get from it, and they got to worship in mind a campaign approved deity to play a Crusader. They fit a nice niche. They go up fast too because they're on the straight cleric table. They go up a lot faster than a paladin does, and they fill a nice role. So there could be colony. Yeah. So there you go. So Eric Boyd did a great job with this. I really think he did a really cool job with the class. Now it's a 1E, 2E specific. Is it going to fit in 5E, or is it going to fit in what you do? It may or may not, but it's something to test.
When it comes to the Unholy Warriors, and now I'm going to spill some more campaign stuff.
Cool.
So they listen. So I gave the Blackguard. I use Unholy Warriors that have Paralyze instead of Smite. So they paralyze and so they basically scare the bejesus out of you and paralyze, and that makes them. They don't do that much damage, but they're capable. Yes, on hit. Yeah. Okay. So they can paralyze easy, so to speak, and that is debilitating because it works for a while, and that is enough to start cutting you up into pieces afterwards. So they can coup de grace someone because paralyzed, you're helpless, and so that means that what they do in tactics is that they are not there to kill, they are just there to take out them, and then the lesser capable ones comes after you and after them and chop them up to pieces. So what they need to do is just move forward, hit them once, paralyze, and move on. And then the after ones comes after, and I've had when these, and now I'm spilling more beans. But I'm going to scare. It's a chance to scare my players. So
nice.
One of the tactics is to by using. So what they do first, they have these kind of nasty trolls. So they unleash starving trolls towards the enemy first to soften them up, so to speak. And then the heavy cavalry of blackguards, really the tough ones come, and they just go straight through and hit you once and paralyze you. Then comes storms of other humanoids with spears and stuff, and chop you to pieces, and so on, to soften you up. So it's a matter of dominating the battlefield and move over like a wave, so
How
to
long does the
speak.
paralyzation last?
It depends. It can last like a D10 rounds or something like that, but it's enough to kill you afterwards.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yeah, so you become paralyzed fairly easily.
Definitely.
And it's
I mean,
tough. And in 3E Pathfinder, it was a DC, and that was simply, it was one really high one. They could get like 4 or 5 attacks. They can paralyze 4 or 5 enemies, everyone around them, in a round if they're good, and then just move on. They don't have to stand and slog with the enemy because they have assistants back that just do that, so to speak, that takes care of them and kill them, and all they want to do is disable them and move on. That's their job, is to dominate the battlefield, take terrain, and disable the enemies quickly.
Now you know.
Yeah. Yep. So that's some of the, I try to invent different
abilities,
techniques, so and so on, so they have different fighting styles. You organize
awesome.
and in different types of units and stuff like that. So now I'm doing the same thing for the Shieldlanders. So the Order of the Shield are having different good techniques and stuff to deal with this, and so they have containment strategies, they have different specialists, they have like missile units and all sorts of cool things, and they have now dragons. And they have several of them, yes. And Iusians don't know that yet. And so their goal now is to try and to lure a trap to get the Iusians out on the field and come. And then when they can lure the Iusians come, then they're going to spring a trap and scare, simply abolish one. They want to have the Legion of Black Death. They want to have one battalion or at least a company of them, and then obliterate them completely. And to show Ius that there's now 2 that can fight, so to speak. So they and the characters are in the middle of the parties, in the middle of this, setting the trap. So that might be an interesting experience.
So they're the pawns.
Exactly, they're the pawns. Exactly, they're the pawns. But since the Shieldlanders are good, they don't want to sacrifice the pawns. But they need the pawns in order to lure Ius out, so to speak. They need to lure him out, and they need to appear vulnerable and stuff like that, to get the evil ones out and for a fight, and then spring the trap. And to do it. So I'm and that's something I think everyone DM should start thinking. You should have like different enemies, should have different fighting styles, different combinations of tactics and enemies and types of enemies.
Absolutely.
and flavor it a bit, and then go for it, so to speak. And some of them form rigid lines and move slowly. Others, they go around seeking, and as soon as there's like, the Iusians are that way, that they don't form a long line and then move on slowly and relentlessly. They will shock one part of it and then simply burn through that hole. They will and they will do some tests here and there, and if they get a little bit of an opening, then send everything through that. And that's what the Black Death is for, so to speak, to cut an opening quickly and then
shock
just
troops.
move on. Exactly, and just move on, so to speak. And yeah, so try and come up with interesting test how it works, so to speak.
And always change things up on your players. So
exactly. Yes.
I'm putting something in chat. No go. Yep. Feel sorry for you. I'm just kidding. So here's some prize possessions. Hey, Gargamon, it's good to see you, man. What's up, Gargamon? Good to see you on, man. Hopefully everything's going well with you. Yep. And your 2E streams. So Thank you so very much for that raid. Second one of the evening.
Oh, I think it will be fun. I think that my players, when the shit hit the fan, really, I want them to be level 7, 8 or something like that, and they will be buffed.
That's like 3 years from now, though, Anna.
No, it doesn't matter. They're second level now, so they're second. I can
they're
tell you.
second now.
Yes, they're
Wow.
second level now. It goes fast when they're in big battle. No, but what in the beginning now, what they will get is they will get tons of buffs. They will be buffs up the wazoo when they have when to spring the trap, because they want everybody to be as prepared as possible. Right now, the characters are in the test, so the Shieldlanders are evaluate them if they are faithful, capable, and stuff like that. And once they pass the test and they are done really well, then they will be richly rewarded for that. And one of the cool thing is that next time they go to battle, they will have one of the most powerful or cool military organizations in the back if they want to. They can simply say, no, we don't want to, and walk away. That since the Shieldlanders are good, they will simply say that, sure, no hard feelings. But if they want to, and they can stay and fight with them, and that can be a lot of fun. So that will be a lot of buffs,
which is a good thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's like 5 different factions, and they can go with either of them and try and form their own if they want to, or they can join either of them. So yeah.
So I forgot one thing, and I'm not going to search for it now. And I wanted to show everyone a cover of if you can find it, give me 10 seconds. I should have, while I was talking, I should have been searching. So let me see if I can find it.
Interrupted you here.
No, that was on it. Nope, I don't. All right, I never snipped it. All right, well, and that is where these great things, these great comics come from. It's the Phineas Fingers Treasury. Mm-hmm. The Phineas Treasury. If you can get a hold of the Phineas Treasury, please. It's one of the funniest. It's got some really cool stories in it. It's really neat. And this shows our favorite Anti-Paladin, Grand. And I'll blow this one up here real quick. And it says here, and meanwhile, back on the outside we see, and he says, it's time to break this deadlock. We'll probably all die, but I'm chaotic evil and don't care. Besides, I'm an anti-paladin whose real purpose in life is to slay paladins. So die, paladin, and then watch it, Fred. And because Fred's a paladin here. So there you go. Yep. The wonders of the anti-paladin. Yes, in this, and the yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say the roots to me seems I can sense the wargaming roots when you had markers and the different pieces, a bit like wargaming, where you had the paladin and you had some anti pieces and stuff. So I get the sense of the wargaming roots when I have these kind of you have a class that is an anti-class against another class, so to speak. So
yeah, absolutely, and it goes all the way back. So the original. I don't know when the original article came out in that Dragon 39, and this was not.
Yeah, that's early days.
But these are not that much longer after that. They're already talking about. Everyone loved the Anti-Paladin back then. The one thing I liked about this was the thorn in the side of the whole Phineas Fingers group was the Halfling Thieves Guild, because there were a bunch of SOBs. Yeah, right? And there's a Halfling thief right here, and it's really a funny. It's a funny discussion. Yeah. Yep. So I wanted to throw that out there. All right, so I had out an inspiration came from Dragonlance. Take from what is good. Does anyone know what that inspiration is in Dragonlance? I know, Tino, you said you had this book. What do you think that is? My inspiration out of Dragonlance Adventures. What do we like?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, you really have to know the class. You have to know the book to know that. So alignment chart, no. No, it's a class. Yes, Valmoku's correct. The Knights of Solamnia. Now there's the crown, the whatever, and the rose. There's 3. So we're like, that's gully doors. Yeah, thanks. See, that was funny. The nicest land in the night of the rose. So 1980. Yeah, I was 12, 13 years old. That July 1980. Yeah, I was 13. So you got it. The night classes in here. There's 3 different night classes. They're all worked out. By the way, here's some. I have a mini version of that book too. I have a mini version of that, and the
Oh,
yes.
cool.
And you want to know how
Awesome.
the super rare your
Yeah,
minis?
I've seen the mini version of the Greyhawk box sets from '83. I've seen it
Yeah,
once.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
one of
also they had
Mike
Arcana,
Bridges.
Player's Handbook.
Yeah,
Yeah,
One of
so
Mike Bridges' friend, Jason. He had it and he brought it to GaryCon. The first GaryCon was together with him, and that was awesome to see that little pocket one. Yeah, you
so
probably have the magnifying glass to read the text though.
so it's Crown, Sword, and Rose, and they're in here on page 16 and on. It talks about the oath and all. And let's not get into Lord Sauce, Fallen, Knight of the Rose. We all know that. All right, well, great, and Ravenloft terms and all. But so you got your knights here, and you got your tables, and it's a class. So we started out Knights of the Sky, Stars, and Heavens is our playtest first, and just said, why don't we turn this knight into a class in Greyhawk? Didn't work. Worked a little bit, but didn't work. And I was trying to figure out what can I do to get this. It just doesn't make sense why anyone would do this because we don't have a basis. And I said, then that's when this came out, and this came out in a dungeon, right? Because they put Living Greyhawk stuff in dungeon back then. Hail Eric Mona. That's when this article came out. This is Valor is Our Blood. So this is when they're talking about the prestige class, Knights of the Holy Shielding.
I love the prestige classes from 3.5 or third edition, and they were also implemented in Pathfinder 1 because it was basically third edition. So yeah, I love the prestige class. That was something you could flavor things really. Yeah,
absolutely. Or you could steal from it and be back converted.
Yeah, but in 5e you have archetypes that work very similar, so to speak. So it's not as powerful as prestige classes, but it's in that.
Right, and prestige classes, you could be like Paladin, you could be a fighter, but you have to have prerequisites.
Yeah, and you can tie it into something in the campaign, meaning you need to join the Knights of Holy Shielding in order to get that prestige class, which is kind of cool.
Absolutely. So this is what we did. We made up. We're going to make up our own knight class. Now look at how nasty these experience tables are when you get up here in the night.
2.5 million to
12?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You would never reach that in my campaign. Yeah,
that's 13.
We had to game every day for 6 years to get there.
Oh, it's what do you see the abilities in this? So the knight is a combination of a specialty priest and a paladin, basically.
So it is. So you have this kind of it's almost like the Gestalt.
Yes. Now,
classes,
but it gets even more detailed to that. The knight is a class for a knighthood in Greyhawk.
Okay.
Hopefully, I don't get too confusing here, because we're still, like usual, we're just keep on testing this, and it's working very well. So here are the 3 that I have done. First one I did was based on the prestige class, which made sense, and that is the Knight of the Holy Shielding. Okay, so we made that into its own class. Now, a Knight of the Holy Shielding has to join the Order of the Holy Shielding upon attaining 4th level. If they failure to gain entry or removal, revert them to Fighter, Cavalier, or the Saxon I have in the game, which is the Foot Knight, depending on the statistics and background. That is possible. We've had that happen one time. All right, we had one character that just couldn't handle it in a knight, and it went back to a fighter. You know how it says failure to perform as a paladin will change you back to a fighter or whatever? The same thing can happen with this knight class. This is a high-end, super long time to level up character with a lot of power in it. Alignment's lawful good, lawful neutral. Okay, so there you go. Knights of the Holy Shielding in that range. I don't think chaotic fits in Knights of the Holy Shielding, so we didn't offer it. Here is their spell list. Okay.
Well, they get spells too.
Oh yeah,
they're paladins.
Oh yes,
basically. Yeah.
You get the specialty priest spells of the deity they worship. Now there's rules in my game for which ones they can use. They can only use Heronius or Ilmater in my game because that's the only 2 that the Knights of Holy Shielding revere in my game. Okay?
All right.
All right, but they have to worship one of those 2. And they get wisdom bonus as well, but they get spells back at half rate from a cleric in my game, so they can only get back 1 spell a day. So So
Yeah.
many versions. Wow, this is what happens in 41 years of playing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So here
They
comes
go.
they
Sorry.
get
Go ahead.
more. They get
Mm-hmm.
more. Here
Yeah.
comes their here comes their special abilities they get once per day. All right, this is specific to each class. Protection from evil or chaos 1 time per day. Smite evil, okay, which is 1 point per level. +1/+1 damage and +1 saves versus allies of Yayus Infernals at 7th. +2 at 7th. So they get that at 3rd. So they're merely getting better to hit and damage against the Iusians and demons and devils. Okay, so this is where we're talking about that undead demon hunter and stuff. They're immune to fear. They get the spell Vengeance Fist of Heronius, which is a nasty spell. They get higher protections and a defensive harmony spell. There's their abilities all once per day. Combine that with weapon specialization and multiple attacks like a fighter, you have a really nasty character. That's why it takes them so long to go up. Now think about this though. They have to join that knighthood. This class is a specific class to that knighthood. I've taken a specialty a specialty prestige, and back converted it to 1e2e. All right, so you need to roll one up. Yeah, Calsteph, you understand why now? I have to balance it. So it's going to take them forever to go up.
Yeah,
you
basically made it a double class.
Yeah, the highest knight in my campaign, I think, is 12th. 11th or 12th.
Yep.
I think it's 12th. All right, so that's 1, Knight of the Holy Shielding. Number 2, Knight of the Heart. Okay? Knight of the Heart has no neutral aspect to it, but they can be chaotic good because there's elves.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Lawful good, neutral good, chaotic good. Now they're going to join one of the 3 orders of the Knights of the Heart. Okay? Friundi, Valuna, High Forest. So they can go all 3. Right? See, I got it covered, Wiley. There's one I haven't done yet that I'm thinking about doing after this. So here come their abilities. The spell lists are the same as far as when they get spells. Knight of the Heart abilities are the following. All right. They get their choice of smiting, and they have to choose ahead of time. Humanoids, giants, undeads, or infernals. Ignore late wounds, which is a cool spell. They can restore strength for weakness, draw upon holy might. They can get bonus to attacks and for studying their opponent, and they also get an extra attack, no mercy attack on their so they are very tactical. The Knights of the Heart.
Yeah.
Right, and that's their special abilities. What do you think the last one is?
Well, you have the watch.
No.
Oh no, you have.
I haven't done the watch.
Yeah, you have to have your own.
Exactly.
Ulick.
And that is the Knights of Ulick.
Yep.
All right. So
I was thinking that was the one. The Night's Watch was the one you wanted to do next.
Yes,
time.
Knights of the Watch is the one I'm thinking of still doing. Knights of Ulick, but we haven't been using them lately in the campaign. All Knights of Ulick, and we have. I'd say there's roughly. I allowed a one-time. If you tell me a good reason when I brought this class out, you could convert to this. So we had about 3 characters convert. One of them was a paladin. One of them was a cavalier. Yeah. So we had a couple. We had a couple conversions into Knights of Ulick, and that's the way we could playtest them at higher levels too. All right. So this is the Knight of Ulick class. All right. And notice the race restrictions as per in my game. And then here are the Knight of Ulick abilities. And some of these spells you may not know because they're from a Monty Cook book. Heart Glow, which makes you glow with goodness and all evils like within 10 feet -1 to hit and saves. Godspeed, you guys all know that game. It's a tactical armor class, 30-inch movement rate. Exaltation keeps you immune to certain spells. Look, I even have a I call it by the right thing, Storm Sword Fire. I should change the name, but it is a Forgotten Realms ability. So it immolates your weapon, which because they're undead hunters, right? They're undead and they're fighting that, so they get fire damage. Holy Smite, that spell, and they get Shield of the God, which is a Mayheen spell, which is actually a Helm spell I converted to Mayheen once per day. And that is the abilities for the Knight of Ulick. So those are the 3 knight classes I have.
Cool.
So think about Biggie Paul. Thank you, Biggie Paul. Thank you so very much. So I've taken an idea that was brought in a prestige class, 3rd edition, back converted it all the way from my campaign into these knight classes. It works well. Now you may say, "Oh, they're too overpowered." Not really. They're not. They just you can only cast a spell around, right? Or you can only do one thing each round. They're not over. they work well in the campaign setting, and that's the thing you got to think of. If you're going to create something, you got to think of how's it going to affect my campaign.
Yeah.
You know,
And
so
also I allow to wholly kind of characters that are doing stuff like that, like paladins and similar characters that take on a role like that, because they automatically get way more enemies.
oh
If
yeah.
if you become a member of the Knight of the Holy Shielding, you get lots of help and protection and whatnot, but you also get lots of enemies. Meaning, you if you're out there carrying that, you will be a target, so to speak. That they will go for you first and go after you first, and they will smell you, so to speak. The bad guys, the IUCNs, they will, when they see you, they will hunt you down and kill you if they can.
That's a great point, Anna.
Yeah.
And let me go back.
A lot of the, oh, sorry.
No, it's a fantastic point, and I want to go ahead, continue, and then
I was just going to say that balancing doesn't necessarily need to be mechanical. It can be, you can settle some of that in campaign too, so to speak.
I want everyone to note on the bottom of this undead hunter ability list. What does it say? Note: intelligent undead will be able to sense an undead hunter's presence and will concentrate upon his or her complete destruction above other party members if possible. So you gotta think about that when you're making up a character class like this, and that's in the undead hunter. Inquisitor, not so much. Inquisitor doesn't care about undead, but you know what I'm saying. But the actual undead hunter class, they're out there just for the destruction of all undead. So you have to think about those.
Yeah, and I had some of my that I had back in 3.5 and Pathfinder 1. I haven't thought about exactly how to do it in 5e yet, but then they had ability like they couldn't be blinded. That was one of their immunity to blindness, so to speak. They could see, and whatever made it that way. They were hard to meaning you couldn't charm them or enchant them or any of that stuff. That bullshit, that didn't work. You had to the evil they had to literally chop you up. That was it, so to speak. You were not feared. They could fear you, or you were not scared, or any of that. You couldn't be blinded. So they had a huge benefit when a lot of the regular folks on the battlefield, so to speak, they could be blinded, scared, and whatnot. But the paladins of the whole Knights of Holy Shielding, they stood up and stood there, and they were not easy to. So when the worst of the IUCNs came, they were the ones that stood there, so to speak, and stood their ground and had really good saves and all that. So it was kind of, so I want them to, so you get and you get a lot of buffing spells and stuff. Yeah, make sure that they have lots of access to stuff like that, so they should have it. And then good fighting ability, but because they were more powerful, meaning if you became a paladin and a member of Knights of the Holy Shielding or Knights of the Heart or something, you were more powerful and had mechanically better than a fighter. But on the other hand, you had to pay for that because I simply said the dedication. The fighter could be the lazy one who just goes around using his talent, whatever. But if he really, really wants to emphasize, he gets, because I simply assume that the paladin does as much fighting training as a fighter does. But he also dedicates himself and he serves someone who benefits them. But on the other hand, they have to pay for it with more enemies, and they will be target first. And so meaning the IUCNs will try and recruit the regular fighters maybe, or chase them away, but the other ones, they want to kill no matter what.
So Zen Shishi, that's a great question, and the answer is no. And I don't want to sound arrogant here, but I think because I've been doing it so long,
yeah,
I balance is not a problem. I can whip out an encounter. Like if you watched last Saturday with the Anti-Paladin, I think that was pretty well balanced. I mean, whether they all down in the teens at the end, and I killed one character, and they were all pretty hurt and pretty bad at the end of that. And it was all I had was 2 stone golems, the Anti-Paladin, and a para-elementalist, and that was it in that fight. And some cheesy summon stuff.
Yeah, but you can balance a lot in game. You just have to think about things. You can balance numbers, tactics, morals. You can have very superior enemies, but they are shaky and scared and get spooked easily. and or you can have enemies that are relentless and willing to sacrifice themselves, like undeads. For instance, undeads don't need to be that powerful mechanically because they will stand and fight because they're already dead, so they don't fear pain. They can't be scared, they can't be controlled or something like that, but they have vulnerabilities too. So depending on what type of enemy, meaning humanoids and stuff, and some of them orcs and goblins and whatever, they might be easy. All you need to do is to spook them and they all run away because their morals might not be that good, so to speak. So if they scared of dying, then comes the Legion of Black Death, and you don't scare them no matter what, so to speak, then they will try and chop you up to pieces. So yeah.
So Cathera, I'd say any of the powerful undead mummies, and I'll absolutely to go after undead hunter.
Oh yeah, I would. I would have any skeletons whatsoever, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's not a form of intelligence. It's their kind of basic cunning or something.
Like zombies. We're talking zombies and skeletons aren't, but ghouls may not necessarily because they're pretty mindless. But if you're talking about ghasts and wraiths, maybe not wights, wraiths, specters, vampires. So definitely.
And even powerful undeads might hunt you not only during the adventure, they might come after you and hunt you down from a distance, so to speak. And undeads live forever, basically. So if a vampire puts you on their death list, then it might take, even your grandkids might be affected by it. So yeah.
So here's the list of my entire list of races and classes. I just had a whisper on what a Renshay is. And
wow.
The Renshay is something that Bill Master Crafter created. Was not as successful as his Maester by far, but it's kind of almost like a sword saint, almost like a Kensai, almost, but not. And it's a ship based from the Sea Barons class. So one day I'll go into that for you. And they don't wear armor at all. But this is my entire list of all the classes with all the races cross-referenced. I just wanted to share it with everyone here. And note that when it gets broken down even further, there's 3 knight classes here. Right? Guardians, Halfling, Shield-Thanes, Dwarf, Cavalier, Paladin, Cavalier, Paladin, Fighter. They're both here. When you get down in here, I have 42 different specialty priests that's here, right? I have 4 different Druids. We have 4 different Avengers, 6 different Elementalists. So there's more than, there's like, I don't know if you count them all, there's like 100 classes we have, and that's old school.
Yeah.
But just to note that this is the class list. This is my master class list. I'm trying to think of what the last thing we added was. As a full class. Well, I had a Para Elementalist, Saxon, the Foot Knight, which I know a lot of people want me to put, which will be in JS2, by the way. That one will be in there. So let me see what we got in chat here. So you're saying the mechanics serve the storytelling and the DM is the person behind the curtain. Yep. Yeah, and that's it, Obsidian. I use the Dragon 148 version, just like the Spies UA version. Okay. But I'm all for ganking. Hey, Ben, that's cool. And that's a great thing. Greyhawk especially. You make it your own. You tweak your classes. You tweak what you're doing.
Yeah.
And if your players love it, then you're doing the right thing.
Yeah,
that's all you got to worry about.
Yeah, and also classes as a concept can fill a different niche depending on your playstyle and your game style. Meaning classes in my campaigns are different than in Jay's campaign. It's both due to how the different edition works, but it's also how you treat mechanics and the concept of class in your campaign, so to speak. So yeah, in your playstyle.
Okay. Yeah, and just another thing is that with this, there's other, like with Holy and Unholy Warriors, we've gone to, and I've talked about this before, but I have other weapons, right, that we use. We have we've added some, like the Falx, Dwarven Claymore, saddle swords. We've added those in to add flavor into our epes, rapiers. And Baslard.
I think that's really important, that you should add more weapons, and they don't necessarily need to be that significant mechanically, but they should be thematically different. And you could you can tweak them a little bit, but it depends on 5e don't have that many parameters to play with. Pathfinder 2 had way more. That's one of the things I've missed from Pathfinder 2 was that Pathfinder 2 had so many cool things you could do with weapons that you can't. 5e is simplified that way, but on the other hand, it's simple and play faster. So yeah.
That's a great question, Lenders. I'm going to guess there are 200. Imri's like in the 220s. There are about 230 members of the Order of Ulick for over 41 years.
See,
I'm going to guess. This is a guess. 30 to 40 paladins in that time, over 40 years. That is a guess, a shot in the dark, man, because I never counted them. You got to remember, in the old days, there's a lot of multi-class fighters like Gazumba, fighter, clerk, mage, fighter, mage, thief. They're all over the place early on. They're paladins and they're cavaliers and they're knights and they're all sorts of classes.
Ranger, wizard.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Straight rangers, straight spellcasters, elementalists, specialty priests. A lot of specialty priests. Did you guys always stick to the 17 charisma requirement? Yes, we've always stuck to the 17 charisma requirement for all paladins. Why? Just
well,
because.
they have to have a certain flair to them, and personal projection powers, so to speak. I think, yeah.
I agree. They really need to have.
It's part of that. Wisdom and charisma are key, I think, for the holy fighters, because they need to have that will, meaning they need to control themselves and not be weak and controlled by others, so to speak, and prone to fear and stuff. And charisma is they need to project their presence to others and not be persuaded or any of that. And it's part of persuading others to follow them and to because I'd say in the game world, they are the ambassadors of their religion and their organization and all that. And they need to have an argument and not be pushovers. And they can't be a grumpy saying nothing. They have to be good orators, speak for their organization and religion, defend it both with weapons and with words. And to appear to be staunch and good characters, whether that is good in alignment or evil doesn't matter. You need to be a impressive representative for the interests you serve, so to speak. That's how I see why you need to have good charisma and good wisdom.
Yeah,
that is normally not required much by fighters or other types, because they are there to wield the weapon power. But and holy and unholy fighters and they are, and warriors, they are more than warriors, so to speak. They also very much ambassadors. So in between the fights, they are the ones to generate new adherents and also to tend to the faithfulness of the flock, so to speak. That's one of the other things, to weed out internal problems and stuff, deal with that. And that's when I think wisdom and charisma comes into play a lot too. Maybe not so much on the battlefield necessary.
Death Ray, Gargamon, Tabletop Santa, all three of your points now are all dead on what you just said in chat.
Yep.
That way I was going to type in all three. Great idea. Yeah, they're all dead on. Inspiring.
I totally
Knights
agree.
in my game inspire too. Okay, and so do Crusaders. Because that's that's the unholy and holy realm. So I'm going to say this: an anti-paladin rarely inspires in my game. A Crusader of Ayus inspires the baddies, the Orogs, and the Lossels to get moving. You know
exactly. I mean? That's how I see it too. Meaning that's why they need to have charisma that is impressive, because they need to scare the bejesus out of it. Because the other troops will not only fight if they have to, so to speak. So because evil ones they will run for the hills or disappear or stab them in the back if they have the chance. So that's why they probably need charisma even more than the good ones. So yeah.
Yeah, and an anti-paladin can be very charismatic, as we saw last week, and very nice and very charming, and very attractive and very suave until you say the wrong thing and they go off on a tangent. And Imri was just pushing the buttons. Imri wasn't doing it. She was waiting for you to come close to backstab you.
And Imri was begging for it, so to speak. So yeah, she played hard. Yeah. Imri just starting to feel like she's getting somewhere in the world, so to speak. So she wanted to get there. So,
we've had a fallen paladin, and you've heard the story 100 times of Emerson Winchester III. It was an NPC. His He has Marion Winchester, Emerson Winchester IV, which are in my game, very active in the campaign. But he fell to those Amazons of the Crimson Moon, which were men corruptors in my game back in the 90s. He was a paladin, but he fell to cavalier. So he fell because he was a cavalier subclass of paladin, not a fighter. So he fell to cavalier and never regained his paladin status and was neutral from
Yeah.
that point on. Yeah. So and when it went the rest
Yeah.
of his life as a cavalier. Now he did save someone in the very end, sacrificed himself, but he passed as a cavalier from that point. So it's just like the knight. If you're a fighter subclass of paladin, Patrick, and you fall, you're gonna go to fighter. If you're cavalier's class, you're gonna go either to cavalier or to Saxon in my game if you are more from not a noble background. It just depends. So a redeemed anti-paladin, that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I've ever seen that ever, unless you put a helm of opposite alignment on one, right?
Yeah.
No, I mean seriously, that would be the perfect attempt to put a helm of opposite alignment on, and which exists in. I don't know if they exist in 5e, but they exist in old
No,
school.
well, in my campaigns they don't exist that way.
Yeah.
It's alignment is something that comes from inside the
Right.
character. But I haven't had any fallen paladins. But if I did, what I would do is that I would not convert the class. I would just remove all the powers that came from their master, their deity. Because
Makes
they
sense.
will lose all their connection, meaning that their smite ability, their healing, their spells, and all that will disappear because they're the mighty and the deity or the power they serve will no longer trust them, so they will cut all that. Otherwise, they are a good fighting ability. They will keep the hit points and all that, so to speak, because that's something they earned out of skill, so they will keep it. And then they can come to that situation. Let's say you have a paladin of Heronius who goes on a bit of an evil spree and say that I no longer trust and don't follow the orders of the Knights of Holy Shielding if he or she is a member of it. Then they will become a fallen, but they will not. They will be excommunicated from the order, but they can then choose to become a member of Ayu's force, so to speak, and they could come full circle. And Ayus will, the way I will probably hold it in my campaign is that Ayus will let them in and be very distrustful, so to speak. But he wants them to, but if they can come back and in front of him or some of his representative, kill someone from their old organization and torture them to death, that's when Ayus will trust them and say that, okay, now you have started to serve me. And then they can become an unholy fight and start getting back a lot of the benefits from Ayus, meaning the evil versions of a lot of things. They can start smiting good and things like that. But then they have to prove it by going out and purposely killing their own kind, so to speak, or their former allies and members. They have to actively go against the organization. Then he will trust them. But Ayus is willing to test. He's chaotic evil. Anything that can give him an edge or screw with the enemy, he's willing to test. So but the Shieldlanders will never redeem someone back, so to speak, or hardly ever. It's hard. They might forgive someone who comes back and remorse, and they might say that, okay, we will let you live, and we will say you can live in that house over there. We're not going to kill you if they redeem, but they will never let them back into the organization again. They will not trust them again for that, and they will not be restored full in order, so to speak. If they're just gone astray and been neutral and so on, then you might be redeemed. But if you go back and kill one of your other members, that's it, so to speak. No way. That's it, so to speak.
I want to note one other thing. In combat, there are some differences with parrying benefits that certain classes get, and I put that up here. When you state a parry in 1E, 2E, and you have your shield up and you're not attacking, the bonus minus is to hit. So you got your Cavaliers up top, and your Paladin Cavalier subclass is better than your Fighter Paladin subclass, and that's where you see a little different there. Knight falls in at the -4. So some have a little bit of a benefit on that parrying ability. And you notice that the Crusader, even though the Crusader is a clerical subclass, it gets to -4 instead of -3. So it has another benefit over a specialty priest having the Crusader there as well. Just to note that.
Cool.
Yeah. So some ideas. Crusaders or any class. if you're into the Earth Dragon, perfect spot. Right? Earth Dragon, a lot of
Yeah.
opportunities there. There's a lot of specialty priests developed, but Crusader would be
Yeah, I
perfect.
simply saw that any powerful figure, so to speak, meaning it can be any good god, any real powerful dragon, someone that reaches into the divine ability, someone that lives forever and has powerful enough, they can start granting some of that power to underlings. And I have the term in my campaign that I use, a divine agent. And that can be a cleric, could be a druid, could be a paladin, could be even a ranger. Sometimes it could be witches and others that are granted abilities and powers from their master, so to speak, and they take different, how they do it is different depending on, that's a class mechanic in very much in many ways. And also some of them do it by organized religion, like some priests and stuff, and then you can have witches and some others that simply do it by themselves. They strike a pact personally with the deity and get powers, and that goes, paladins might be some gods and stuff might, like Tritherian, might not be that organized religion. He might be more have strike personal relationships with them and let do, and others might be very organized in their ways, and that might have church with formal orders and priests and bishops and organization, depending on alignment and style, so to speak. So yeah.
And there's a lot of Greyhawk is ripe with ideas that you can
Exactly.
develop no matter where you are. So
Yep.
I know Rob was talking about an Inquisitor in Castles and Crusade system in his Great Kingdom. That's a great idea. And it's just wherever you're playing, there are opportunities
The
based on the
Death Knights
deities.
is a perfect example of an unholy warrior that is kind of special, so to speak. And you can make all sorts, meaning I've developed them for Ayus, I developed them for Nerul, the Death Knight, I've tweaked them, and meaning the Hextorians and so on and so forth. So and to be honest, the Death Knights are Flan. They are dark druids, meaning the dark faith. They are the unholy fighters of the dark faith. That's their purpose. And Ayus, since he originally was part of that scheme, that means that his unholy fighters are very close to Death Knights. They originally were Death Knights. Then they developed in different directions a bit, especially lately since Ayus have broken with them. That meant that he he couldn't draw on the bigger power picture. He had to personally give his power to his
Someone
followers.
said Death Knight and Gary showed up.
Oh, awesome.
Gary!
Hey!
Good to see you, Gary.
Yep.
We're talking holy and unholy tonight. So not particular Death Knights, but mostly Anti-Paladins and some other things. Thank you all for the hype train. Really appreciate it. Good to see you, Gary. We're having some fun tonight. Happy Father's Day to everyone. So there are deities that I think could use some development in Greyhawk that I've tried to develop that you can really tie in here with a lot of these classes. Erythnal, Slaughter.
Exactly.
Perfect one.
Yep.
You have that Hidden Temple of Erythnal, which is right in the Sus. No matter what Rich says, Longitalis, it's placed in the right spot by Anna and me. So, all right. So that's another.
You placed it. I put it on the map, but it's your suggested. I think it was a great spot. So,
that's another evil deity that really you can go to town with in some of these classes. Anti-Paladin fits perfectly with Erythnal.
Yeah, and you can
Crusader
take Hell, meaning Asmodeus and his menagerie of devils could have their servants that will fit in this build too. Yeah,
definitely. So, questions from the audience. I know we went over a lot, and we didn't hear the Tim stories because of the family. Because Tim has some great Anti-Paladin stories, and I wish he was here to tell them, but maybe in the future. Anna left me in the cold. Oh.
No.
It's all good. So, hey, I'll say this about Hidden Temple of Erythnal. It's in Vortex number 8, and it took us years to get it. Thanks to Alan Grohe, we got it. And then I got a copy of it, a hard copy, and I didn't feel bad. And so a lot of people in the community have the adventure now. It's a 2E adventure written in that magazine, and I think I placed it perfectly. And that's all we have to say about that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and that should be good enough for everyone. Is with my placement there. I'm going to hit up. I'm hitting up Anna's Patreon, but also going to hit up Alyssa's too.
Oh,
Because
yes, definitely. Yeah.
if you didn't see the show, all right. So why do Paladins want a Holy Avenger? Shouldn't it be out for Defenders? Mike. So that's a great question. Depending on the type of, I wouldn't mind just changing the name. So if you know what happened last Saturday night, oh my gosh, and my brain just went cold on the name of let me find the sheet here. So I named it. Okay, now I remember. We had some last second no shows, and I had this bastard sword for the Paladin that was actually the estate. This is a good story, Mike. This fits in perfectly with what you just said here. So let me bring up a picture real quick. Great. It's like I summoned you, Mike, for that question. That was perfect timing, Mike.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the estate, and you may have seen this on posts too. Oh, wait a minute. Why am I doing it that way, you dummy? I can do it this way. Right, I can just.
Yeah, exactly. You put
yeah,
it in the.
I'm old schooling it.
Yeah, you don't exactly. You don't need to cover yourself.
Yeah, I don't need to even do it now. My
Yeah.
apologies, everyone. It's it's been a long day and a long 4 streams this week.
Yeah,
and,
you had a tough week.
9:14. All right, let me just pop this up here. So here we go. All right, there. Duh. Yeah, that's what it works that way. So this was the estate of Trelatrice, the Paladin. No, Narwhal's in the background. I have limited space. Turns out that this is where Gwyneth, the Anti-Paladin, was holed up. They found her grave and they found her Holy Avenger. Okay? Didn't Palance worship some evil god? Yeah, he did. In Hawk the Slayer, he did, especially. Yeah, Mike, absolutely. They found her Holy Avenger. Well, I turned it out of a Holy Avenger and then just to a holy weapon, and it was named Compassion. And Compassion had bonuses to armor class and a couple extra layering on hands ability. So technically, is that a Holy Avenger or is that an enhanced defensive holy weapon, right? So it's a great point, Mike, that you make there that, I think Holy Avenger is the term that sounds cool for it to be a +5 weapon, right?
And you can tweak different weapons. I can think that Tritherian could be obvious for an Avenger, and maybe a Hieronymus could go either way, but then you can have a Paladin of Rao, then it would be a Defender, would be the perfect one, so to speak, for a Holy Warrior of Rao. That will be to defend the peace and the powerless and stuff like that. So then the Defender will be the obvious one. So
yeah. So Gwyneth, the Anti-Paladin, had an unholy reaver, and its name was Vile.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
So, of course, Garn I don't know what Garn thinks he's going to do with it. So he's like, he's got this unholy reaver.
Yeah, but he's a Kellenin, so he will try and wield anything.
Yeah, of course he will. It's just, it's kind of funny. I agree. Holy Avenger. Right. And so I rarely give out +5 weapons anymore. So there were both +3 weapons, +5. The Unholy Reaver was +3 to hit, +3 damage, but +5 against lawful good. And the Kayla's weapon that Tegan got, Gary, the specialty priestess of St. Benedor got, which was a bastard sword. Compassion was +3, +5 versus Chaotic Evil. So there you go. So, and that was the difference and the change. But it's a great question, Mike, on, they don't have to be, wow, you only give out random rolls? Man, that is
wow.
Really, wow.
That no.
Wow,
exactly.
How
I would
two-y
not
of you, Gargamund. That is very
exactly.
two-y of you.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm very restrictive with that.
That is crazy.
They only have one in my campaign. They're not first level. They only have 1 magic items. That's the only thing that appeared. Yeah.
I used to do that, and then oh, cool. Let me go. Paladins of Greyhawk. Oh, that's cool, Gary. I've never seen that before. It's in which LGJ is that? Which Living Greyhawk Journal was that in? Does it say specifically? Very, very cool. Awesome. Very, very cool. I'll have to take a look at that. And so there are. one of my favorite op items I thought should have been only for Paladins, the armor value from the ruins of Mr. box set. There's a lot of
Cool. Yeah.
there's a lot of those really powerful items that you may want to, if you really want to piss your characters off. And I did this. You alignment restrict them, or you class restrict them, or you both restrict them. That's a good way to. And I did this when good tabletop Sand. I did that in Return of the Eight when they had Tensor's girdle of giant strength, which gave you 19, and I'm like, I ain't giving that out to some hacking fighter. So I turned it into, you had to be a magic user and had to be lawful good.
Oh, okay.
So Tim's dad's character, Abdul, which Anna, the clerk mage, he got it, and he has 19 strength when he barely swings a weapon. So yeah, there's certain things that you just don't want.
But he can use Tensor's transformation and stuff
he
like
could,
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He could do some things like that. But so but with 19 strength, that's really, really nasty. It really is. But there's limiting weapons and limiting abilities as a DM. Sometimes you got to make that decision. It's the right thing to do to limit it, because you really, balance is a very important thing in the game. So note that's a good point there. All right, so we're good because we got 15 minutes left of announcements here. Hopefully you got something out of this. I always am willing to. Mike, I hit David Leonard's. There's Mike's too. That's okay. Yeah. So note the classes. Once again, we went over Paladins and Anti-Paladins, Undead Hunters, Undead Hunter, or Journal 33, Inquisitor, Horror in the Holes in the appendix, Crusader, which is made by Eric Boyd, is in the Face and Avatars book. I've tweaked some of the abilities, but it's in this book, Face and Avatars. The Knight class I originally got out of Dragonlance, made some changes from the special prestige class of the Knight of the Holy Shielding. I dropped both my small books. I just want to make sure I don't run over it. There we go. So that's where we got all the classes tonight we discussed and made up, or where they're located. So, or any high-level guide. Lending is not allowed in my game. Lending of magic items is not allowed.
Oh, you're not allowed to? Okay.
So, for example, rings of regeneration and all that. But say you have an extra +1 ring of protection, and you have a new character in the party, if they give it to them, I'm fine with that. But lending of items is a tough.
In a lot of modern rule systems, you have to attune yourself to a magic item. So if you have a ring of regeneration, you have to wear it for a day before it starts working.
That's a good idea.
So that way, if you just switch it along in the adventure, it doesn't matter. Only one character a day can benefit from it. So that's a good way of getting around it without having to arbitrarily simply say, oh, you can't do that, sort of kind of thing.
So note the following. I think this is going to be the first week upcoming in a while. I only have 3 streams. Deep breath, right? That's a good thing.
Yeah.
So what is going on, Anna? By the way, one last time. I'm sorry, Anna.
Yeah, no problem.
If you missed the show Friday night, the Fantasy Mapping Show, it's getting rave reviews from everyone, and I thank you for that.
Yeah,
and the Fantasy Mapping Show will be coming up, the next one, and we're working on topics and guests and all on July 16th, 8 p.m. That's a Friday night. It's the day before the next fundraiser event with the Bad Adventures fundraiser. Thank you. And so look forward to that then, and we'll have, once we have topics out, I'll be blasting them out to everyone. Thank you very much for that.
We're working on it. Yep.
Go ahead, Anna.
Oh, I was going to say, so again, thank you everyone for showing up for the first mapping show, and I'm so glad that it was a lot of fun. And it was a lot of fun doing it, and Jay did an awesome job setting up a new setup and changing the technical bit around, and it worked really well for being the first show. So, and it will be better in the future. So doing it. But now it comes to, first I want to plug a Kickstarter from Gryffindor Games that has my maps in them. So so it is underway. It's been up and running it has 26 more days to go. So it's been up a couple of days now. And I put the link in there, and that's where there will be some hex crawl maps and stuff like that from me. so in there. So it's kind of cool. So please take a look at that and consider pledging and helping them out to make it. It's gone real well so far. So it's looking good. And that is coming, and then there will be more the climate for the Earth updates that I tweaked around, and people really like the continental layout. So I've done the climate is coming, and then there will be a new updated texture map and stuff, so we can kind of put that first phase and say, okay, that will be the working model going forward. And then I will do a winter version and a summer version, so we can look at the where the ice settled, meaning the spread of polar ice caps in the winter versus summer, and then I'll make an ice age version of it too, so we can kind of look at, so people who want to look into and tweak and think about the settings for ice age climate, because that is kind of interesting if you want to kind of big back history and you want to tweak with that. So that's something that I'm working on too. So that will come in during the next month. These things will come, or the next few weeks will come. And then the work on the Lendor Isles is underway, and also I'm gearing up to do the Atlas and the Flanies map update this fall. So that's basically the big ones that are coming, and then we'll see how much of Hepmona land will get covered and stuff like that too. But I'm going to expand it down, so we have the Isle of Dread and the surrounding area there. Then we'll see how much of Hepmona land can be covered extra. But it will probably be that we need to have a separate project of Hepmona land maybe next year or something. But we have one more that I promised before we dig into Hepmona land after Lendor Island. That's Ratik that I promised. That will be the next area next year too. So that will probably be the big project for next spring to get that covered. And then there will be more material from my Shieldlands campaign coming, because there's a bunch of stuff that is in the pipeline there that my players get, but I don't want to spill out all the details before my players have seen it. So you have to kind of push them to spread out across the Shieldlands and go out and investigate more, but they haven't gotten through more than the village yet. So in the village I've already presented, but I'm going to see if I can make one more comprehensive PDF with maps and info and all that of the village as a kind of a settlement thing, and then publish that. So people can take that village, use it as it is, or you can just strip ideas from it or something if you're interested. So yeah, so that's basically what's going on in my end of things. And then we will have the plan for the next month of the fantasy mapping show too.
Yeah, and also note that Anna's maps and campaign seminar is up for virtual Greyhawk Con. It's on Friday night, 6 p.m. It's in. I put my events in already ahead of time.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, cool.
So it'll be one of 4 events that I have. I have that, and I have the Grand Melee, which is the main event Saturday night. Tim has a 7 a.m. his Barbarian one that you're playing in too, Anna, right? On that Saturday morning. And then we have the Ask the Expert show at the end on Sunday evening. So they're all in the system already, and you probably can look at them on events if you were to go to Virtual Greyhawk Con. It should be able to see them under events. There are only 4 in there now because I manually put them in, because events open up July 1st. Registration this year we're going to charge $5. That'll cover some expenses, and also it'll make it a little more worthwhile for everyone to show up. You have a little vested money in $5. Plus a service fee, a minor one or whatever, and then that way we got custom artwork coming. We got some other things we're doing for it. So, but note that the Virtual Greyhawk Con is on its way. Sign-ups are less than 2 weeks to start registering and sign. And I'm talking about not for events, but for putting events in as a DM. All right. So, what would you do if I came over to your house and painted all over your miniatures? Well, remember, Tabletop Santa, you're going to compete. Sit tight, because wait till you see what the show is Sunday night. Next Sunday, Gabbin. So remember, I have Mike Disney and Bill the Master Crafter, and both of them are wonderful, wonderful crafters in their own right. So, but we'll talk about that in a second here. Yeah. All right. So what's going on this upcoming week? Thanks, Anna, for all your shout outs there. We got some really cool things going on. Governments of Greyhawk. We had cities last week. We're going to do governments this week. Myself, Mike, and Anna. I don't know if we'll have another guest. You never know. But we're going to talk about various governments in um, in Greyhawk. This is an area that I have very limited knowledge of. Yeah, Mike, I have limited knowledge in my areas of expertise, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. It's my
So,
fault. This
well,
topic,
that's
so
okay,
you have to
Anna. You're
blame
going to
me.
have
Yeah.
to pick up the
Mm-hmm.
slack of all the
Oh yeah,
whole
yeah.
eastern side of the map is you, because
Yeah, and
I don't
also,
have.
yeah, and we also can talk about not only exactly what, but how would that affect adventures, campaign building, and stuff like that too. Is one of these interesting. Meaning, how can you use the government of things like cities, towns,
Yeah.
villages, towns, cities, provinces, countries, and church orders and knightly orders and stuff like that in your game? That's another side of it. Meaning, how would that affect players? How can you use them as props, villains, aids, and stuff in campaigns? That's another aspect I think that is interesting. It's one of these things that you can use as villains, as aids, allies, pitfalls. Yeah,
Lots of
yeah.
things you can talk about in this government
Yep,
one. I can talk a lot about governments in Hardby, Greyhawk City,
yep.
what I do in Altamira. There's a lot we can
Exactly.
discuss.
Yep.
Thursday night, I cheesed a little bit. Now I'm going to tell you why. Return of the Fog to Hardby. This was a great adventure I ran. This has to be a one shot for me because I got people. Summers are tough. People showing up 1 week, then they're gone 2 weeks and stuff. Next week's got to be this week's got to be a one shot. It'll be in Hardby, so I'm gonna. You'll see what I mean when we do it. But the fog is a very fun adventure, and it's gonna be it'll be different than the last time, but it'll be have some nice fog. Kind of Death Ray. You'll figure it out. Yeah, and it fits right into Greyhawk lore, so that'll be on. Thursday, Infinite Dimensions is the giveaway for some great STL files that night. So then, wow, I get a break the whole weekend off except for next Sunday. This is tentative. Okay. I am working on, Bill has not confirmed, Mike has. All right.
Oh,
all right. So
awesome.
Next week is 3D printing and terrain. And we'll talk about miniatures, of course, too, with Mike and Mike Disney and Bill the Master Crafter next Sunday's Gabbin. We haven't had a crafting show in a while, and we now have a resin printer and two PLA printers that we're working, and Mike has got his great printers and his great artwork and sponsors the show. And we're going to talk about all the stuff that's been going on, some of the things we've done, some of the custom crafts that Bill has done in the last 6 months, because I think it's been that long since we've done a crafting show on Gabbin. So, and then we're going to show some nice paint jobs that they've all done, as well. And it'll be a really cool Gabbin crafting show. I'm looking forward to it. If Bill cannot make it, I will change the topic, and you will know because I will post it everywhere in the Discords if the topic changed. It's been a while, sure. Yeah, it has been that long, man. We have, things go by fast. We have not done a crafting show in a while. It'll be a good one to have. You need a nice resin printer and a speed painting tutorial. So we just got a resin printer. Just got one.
A new one?
No, it's a hand-me-down. So I'm gonna be very kind. I'm gonna do a quick shout out here. Our sponsor, Gamescape 3D, has given us one.
No, but what I meant is that you have one more in your inventory now.
Yes.
An additional 3D.
I believe it's an Elegoo Mars, Cathay. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I may, Tim. I may get Frank and Ann if they're available on instead. If Bill, the Master Crafter, can't make it, but a lot of the stuff in my campaign we wanted to discuss. Because we really, that's what, we thrive on the, that's what we do, is the 3D
they are awesome
stuff and all the great, and so I'm excited.
You should do them often, so to speak.
Well, this is a good time to do it because we put out some. We haven't even talked about the joust setup. I mean, and what it took for the joust setup for GaryCon, which has been
that was awesome.
Been the most. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, here I got to show this. So Gamescape 3D, we asked them to do the tilt wall and all, and this is what we. I mean, my gosh, this is. it's just some unbelievable. It was so much fun that night, and here's another angle pic. That's on my front page now on my
I think
Twitch.
that's the epitome of miniature gaming, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And note that's a combination of 3D prints and all sorts of crafts and all the Reaper miniatures and all round part.
Yeah.
You get the
Yeah,
idea.
Bill has added so much flair
Oh,
and flavor
yeah.
to it on top of the wonderful
Yeah.
model in the base, so to speak.
So we're really looking forward to this show. Yeah. Well, Obsidian, it's not the next joust. It is the fracking well. Well, thank you. Thank you. And this is what we're going to discuss next week. We're going to show all this. Bill's going to talk about, and Mike are going to talk about what it takes to, go into this kind of crafting, and what you need to, like, real quick. Here's an angle on this. Bill painted 17 miniatures, most of them Reaper, some Fire and Ice, mounted for that joust that we needed. Thank you, Patrick, for that. Thank you, Patrick, for that gift sub to Freely. So just note that that's some of the things we're going to talk about. Now, what else is coming up in the future beyond this? Let me show a couple things, and we'll call it. We'll do the giveaway, and we'll call it a night. Saturday morning, 10 a.m., July 3rd. Session 1 of the Underdogs. Finally, Tim.
Wow,
the ever mysterious
it's
Tim,
taken a while to get it started.
Yes, the ever mysterious Tim will be DMing his new group of first levels entitled Desperate Land. I'll just be producing it. I can just sit back, put my feet up, and let him kill everyone. Like Patrick and Prometheus and Kayla and Antiquitous. You all have fun getting slaughtered there, but enjoy it because Tim's a great DM. So, and this will be the low levels, the Underdogs. He'll be doing the high level one during Greyhawk Con. So that is Saturday the 3rd. The 10th is another game where Casey's gonna, for the last time, this is Saturday, July 10th. Casey will be in the morning running his Bandit Kingdoms tournament for the last time before he retires it and goes into a new one. And that'll be the week after that, Saturday, July 10th. The week after that, and I put this up, is the next fundraiser with Blue Box and me, and it is the Bad Adventure fundraiser event benefiting St. Jude. This was Eric Mona's idea. Eric Mona said, why don't you run a really terrible published adventure and we're all playing it and do it for charity? I'm like, okay. So I have Eric Mona and James Jacobs have confirmed for my game. It looks like I'm going to be running Gargoyle. Okay, and John at Blue Box may be running 2 adventures. He has the Tailspire Executives in 1 game, and he's going to have an earlier game. So he's going to probably have 2 games leading up into my game, and he'd probably be running Puppets, one of them. Yeah, so it'll be a fun time. We're going to keep it small, just run it, but the 2 streams and just have some fun with it and see what we can raise for St. Jude. It'll be our second fundraiser. Remember, we raised over $10,000 and the one in February. Whatever we raise now is a bonus, and that'll be Saturday, July 17th. The entire day. My part will go off 6 p.m. Eastern. And then, lastly, after that, Greyhawk Con, silence will be going on during this whole time. So that's what's going on, everyone. Let's do the giveaways.
Cool. Yeah.
Santa, hey man, whatever. The fundraisers are great. So why don't you reach out to me and see if we can come up to some kind of deal and get you into one of these streams, man, for the fundraiser. That would be awesome, man. Really love it. All right, so what do you think, Troy? Yeah, okay. I'm gonna add a second one in because I'm charitable tonight. No, just kidding. Yeah. I'm gonna first one, unless you don't want it, you gotta stay specifically, will be the CSL $25, and I'll give away a Reaper 20 as well. So we'll do 2. Sound good, everyone? Let me close this out.
Yeah. Alrighty. Thank you, Scott, for liking the discussion.
Thanks. Thank you. And always reach out to us. Like I said, if you have questions, please reach out, and I will always help you out with stuff. I will always give out my stuff. Just note that I'm trying to help myself and Carlos out with Horror in the Hools. It is their #1 seller, and I want to keep it that way with my adventure. So, ready? Cool. Closing it out. Winner #1. Nebibiolio 777.
Awesome.
Is he on to claim?
Hopefully, yeah.
He's on. Now we just want to see him claim in chat. There
Yep.
you go. All right. So I need your email or a Discord that I can reach you to send you the code tonight or tomorrow morning. It'll be one of the second winner. This is for the $20 Reaper gift certificate. Eat to Surf. Eat to Surf. Oh, that's good. That was easy enough. All right.
Yeah,
Eat to Surf on
I think I've seen him.
I know he was on earlier.
So, yep.
Let me just make sure he claims it.
Not yet.
It stays in the thing too. Has anyone seen Eat to Surf claim yet?
No, not yet.
Eat to Surf. He's on. He's on. So, well, I will. He's on, so I will keep it for him, and then if he doesn't contact me, then we'll add that into Wednesday's extra giveaways back in. That we'll be fair about that. My guess is he'll contact me. So, all right, now who are we gonna raid into tonight? I'm thinking 20 sides to every story. Friends of mine, they're very good people. Sound good, everyone? Let's raid into 20 sides of every story. And thank you all. Please reach out to me if you have any questions. Please reach out to Anna. Things are going very well in the community. Let's keep it rolling with Greyhawk Con coming up. Get your events ready. If you're going to DM, if you have questions, please just reach out to me. Josh Pop and I have set the whole thing up. It's easy to do, easy to get in there. If we have our stream schedule is full, but I can work some in, okay? But you got to be an affiliate, and you got to have a Greyhawk theme thing to DM. And I need some really bad time slots. There's some bad time slots to fill that I could move things around, but please note, I've accommodated all the partnered streamers that work with us on a regular basis. So, thank you, and see you Wednesday. Wow, I got 2 days off, Anna.
Yeah, wonderful.
See you all. Thank you, Patrick, for all the gift subs and the support, and thank you, Troy Cannibal, for the gift certificates tonight for the giveaways. And we will see you on Wednesday night for a great discussion and a great week of content. See you soon. Let's raid into 20 sides, and we'll go from there. See what we can get up to here. Good night. Oh, look at that. That's awesome. 68's great. For Sunday night. 69. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 70. See you Wednesday night. Have a good night. Happy Father's Day. Oops, I spelled raid wrong. I didn't type it in yet.
Okay, good.
All right, let me, whoops, there we go. Hit the wrong button. Hit that. Let me unbroadcast to make sure we're off on broadcast.
Okay.